In a quiet Florida neighborhood, a mother of four walks toward her neighbor's home. She's angry, but mostly afraid. Her children told her the woman next door threw their roller skates at them again. So she knocks. Once. Twice. Seconds later, a gunshot shatters the night. That mother, Ajike Owens, lies on the ground, never to speak again. The woman behind the door, her neighbor, Susan Lorincz, who claimed she was standing her ground. What unfolded next would not only ignite national outrage, but spark a chilling conversation about justice, race, fear, and the laws that divide America. Today, we're breaking down the Netflix documentary The Perfect Neighbor, a film that exposes the raw truth behind one of Florida's most haunting modern tragedies. Before we dive in, take a second to hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear will change how you see self-defense forever. The story begins in Ocala, Florida, a peaceful suburban town, surrounded by green lawns, sunshine, and a comforting rhythm of small-town life. Neighbors greeted each other by name. Families looked out for one another. It was the kind of place that looked safe until it wasn't. Ajike Owens was known as a loving, dedicated mother, protective of her four children and deeply involved in her community. Friends describe her as the type of woman who would give her last dollar to help someone. She worked hard, raised her kids alone, and always made sure they could still laugh, play, and dream, even when life got tough. But living just across the street was a very different kind of neighbor. Susan Lorincz, 58 years old, lived alone. At first, she was just another neighbor, quiet, distant. But over time, something began to change. According to police reports and bodycam footage, Lorincz repeatedly called authorities over children playing outside, over noise, even over a ball rolling near her yard. What started as petty complaints slowly turned into hostility. And behind closed doors, Lorincz was doing something deeply unsettling, researching Florida's Stand Your Ground law. To understand this case, you need to understand the law that made it possible. Florida's Stand Your Ground law, passed in 2005, allows a person to use deadly force if they feel threatened, even if they could safely walk away. It removes the duty to retreat and gives wide discretion to the shooter's perception of danger. Sound empowering. But here's the dark side. Studies show it's been used to justify killings that disproportionately affect Black Americans. Remember Trayvon Martin in 2012? The unarmed 17-year-old shot by George Zimmerman, also in Florida, under the same law. Zimmerman was acquitted. Or Ahmaud Arbery, chased and killed while jogging in Georgia. His killers also invoked Stand Your Ground. These cases didn't just make headlines. They reshaped America's conversations around race, fear, and justice. And now, Ajike Owens' name joined that same tragic list. Pause. Soft sigh. But what makes The Perfect Neighbor so disturbing isn't just a killing. It's what came before it, months of escalating tension, and a system that watched it all unfold on camera and did nothing. The Perfect Neighbor is unlike any true crime film you've seen, because everything you see is real. No actors, no reenactments, just raw body cam footage, home security clips, and interrogation room videos. Deputies visited Lorinc's home multiple times. Each time, she portrayed herself as a victim, claiming AJ's kids were disrespectful and aggressive. But on camera, the children appear calm, even confused. You can see how the tension builds, visit after visit, until the breaking point. And here's what makes it so chilling. As the footage plays, we realize this wasn't just a single bad day. It was a disaster years in the making. Background, tension rises. What's even more disturbing is what happens after the shooting. Lorinc's interrogation footage shows her crying, using language almost directly lifted from Stand Your Ground statutes, saying she was in fear for her life. But then, she uses racial slurs. It's in that moment that viewers realize this wasn't just fear. It was prejudice weaponized by law. News spread like wildfire. Unarmed Black mother killed by neighbor. Crowds took to the streets of Ocala, chanting AJ's name, demanding justice. Even celebrities began speaking out. Viola Davis, Kerry Washington, and Ava DuVernay shared AJ's story on social media, calling for reform of Stand Your Ground laws nationwide. Influencers began trending the hashtag Justice for Ajike Owens. And yet, for 4 long days after the shooting, Lorincz was still free. Investigators said they were determining if stand your ground applied. For AJ's mother, Pamela Diaz, it was agony. She said, "My daughter was shot dead, and they're still trying to decide if that's okay." Beat, emotional pause. Eventually, Lorincz was charged with manslaughter and sentenced to 25 years in prison. But the Owens family's grief didn't end with the verdict, because justice on paper doesn't heal a broken heart. In the months that followed, AJ's mother, Pamela Diaz, turned her pain into purpose. Along with activist Tamara Robinson, she co-founded the nonprofit Standing in the Gap Fund, aimed at helping families affected by gun violence and racial injustice. Their mission? Care for families today, reform for tomorrow. They began organizing community vigils, school outreach programs, and fundraising events, not just to honor AJ, but to help others avoid the same fate. Pamela said, "No verdict can bring peace, but every life we touch keeps my daughter's spirit alive." Even more powerful, AJ's kids now speak at community events, sharing their mother's story. Imagine the strain that takes, standing in front of strangers, reliving the worst night of your life, all to make sure no one else has to live it again. The filmmakers, Gita Ganbur, Nikon Kwantu, and Elisa Payne, didn't just stumble onto this story. They were connected to it. Ganbur's sister-in-law was best friends with AJ, which made the story deeply personal. Through the Freedom of Information Act, the team obtained hours of footage, body cams, dispatch recordings, surveillance clips, piecing together every second leading up to that fatal moment. What they created isn't just a documentary. It's a mirror, reflecting what happens when fear meets prejudice and laws protect the wrong people. But The Perfect Neighbor also raises an uncomfortable question. Have we, as a society, become addicted to watching tragedy unfold on screen? We see it in viral videos, police body cams, and TikToks dissecting human suffering. Are we seeking truth or entertainment? The documentary doesn't offer easy answers, but it does remind us, behind every clip, every headline, there's a real family living a real nightmare. The tragedy of Ajike Owens forces us to confront a hard truth. Laws meant to protect can sometimes destroy. And neighbors, people meant to look out for each other, can become enemies under the weight of fear and bias. The question isn't just, how did this happen? It's, how many more times will it happen before something changes? If this story teaches us anything, it's that empathy has to outshine fear. Because in the end, a perfect neighbor isn't someone who stands their ground. It's someone who stands for what's right. The Perfect Neighbor is streaming now on Netflix and is one of the most haunting true crime documentaries you'll ever see. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think stand your ground laws protect innocent people or enable deadly prejudice? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's start a real conversation. If you believe AJ's story deserved to be heard, hit like, subscribe, and share this video to help her legacy live on.